The young boy who watched that cock next to him became frightened and silent because of a small natural fear of weakness only, now finds himself figuring out every possibility and aging into the same act years and years later. Just back away from the urinal and aim your piss into the drain. See if the child laughs. See if, on his own, he decides to join you. Backs up his less than 4-foot body and wants to play too. 2 men he enjoys, playing with how far their pee-pee can reach all the way into the toilet. There's only fear now that his father will come in and yell at him for making a mess. His breath, his nakedness so bare and available and unthinking to be stabbed at, snipped sloppy with a pair of sharp scissors conveniently kept in your back pocket. I'll tell your dad you were being mad. Never do that again. He finds himself forever wanting to replicate that act. Down the slope into size queening every tea room and back room booth, available to suck every single cock he's ever guessed at. Thank you. Do you want some head, sir? She's an ugly woman, 20-something and dressed in Catholic plaid, red because in most cases green is illegal, in a tight T-shirt and pigtails and a tattoo over her flat navel and obligatory white knee socks along with nipple pinches and stupid mugging grins. She shaves her cunt completely. She's quite skinny, and when you slice out the bottom of page 32, cutting just below her belly button and the ridiculous flower tattoo, you'd be left with a shot highly similar to a close-up of a little girl's childish vagina, just a slit barely rising between 2 not too fatty thighs. The old bitch's pubic area, if you look far too close, looks airbrushed, perhaps indicating a bad shaving rash or some other bumpy female unpleasantness. But this particular shot, chopped carefully, violently reminds me of the obscene close-ups I've seen scroungy pedophiles focus in on and distribute illegally. Just down her youthfully long torso and below her bony waist, and cut before the knees. No labia, no chewed lips, no maw, no hair, no personality except dead, just a slight slashed indentation, a curve. As you masturbate, you can feel that give in her pubis, her tight, flat flesh and divot. It's like that. And as fake as the photo and the crop and the giggly danger the cheesy Hollywood editor uses as reputation, you actually don't feel a thing. Since I wasn't going to fuck it, a fairly clean-looking naked pig slobbed her rubber ass off the towel and onto the sheets. Since I already paid, the fully viewed pig felt compelled to insert almost all of her hand into her fat, wet cunt. It had to be wet, or that fat. Her bunched-up fingers sank all the way in far too quickly and easy. She was not in the slightest way excited. I wouldn't be surprised if she lubed because I was clear of my intentions not to touch her long before she tugged her saggy girth out of her black sales dress. I don't know what kind of old fingers she had, long and withered like her brethren usually hide, I'm sure. I didn't care about her hands except that I didn't want them on any part of me. They should have been soft, actually. She wasn't exactly the thin English type, but she was at least as old as 30 and apparently a whore for some time. She wouldn't have had miner's calluses or crack pipe burns. Maybe sewing cuts from the long time she had to sit and wait and while. I'm tempted to guess that's where her lumpy chin and belly came from. Snacks and sitting and smoking. All that talking with the lady that answers the door and makes the make-believe tips. I'm tempted to assume she gets plowed 20 times a day, and any keegling tension she might have retained after her first mistake baby or two had long given way to pure day-to-day drudgery and coffee naps. Please don't do that. Just sit, please. Thank you. She had a sore in her waist. What I think was her waist. It was more on her side horizontal from her folded navel, just above her kangaroo pouch of slight, unembarrassed after-cash cellulite. These British whores are out of their window wear in mere seconds after returning cash stored next door to the room you ate in, just after they called out in the dark that this nice American gentleman has paid you a nice tip, darling. Just don't bite, okay? The question as to whether or not she's actually had that happen to her just means more noise. Noise under that irritating solicitous accent, or worse, that feminine lilt. I really am here because I hate this particular beast, and this particular English beast is only as special as the sign inside the wide-open doorway off the busy uppy Soho street. And unlike the rest of the dogs and niggers and perfectly respectable quiet businessmen who paw these ragged, hideous steps hourly, I pay extra for less. What if I only want to look at your tits, when all I really want to do is see your face, on the inside of this room, with the light in the window that hangs and glows red outside, says model, and disgustingly vulgar sign downstairs pointing up to here, talks about your tits, that maybe masks criminals in the hallway? And if she's not filth, not another criminal, not human garbage used and reused and drained and spit on, expected to take it and hide it and get ready for the next, maybe cleaner, maybe gentle, pathetic, lurching, staring scumbag, then all I really need, I guess, is to pay you here, figure out the exchange rate, and imagine that I've added my very important, charitably minded contribution to keeping you here where it's a bit safer than the streets, or if you prefer, incrementally helping you to get the fuck out of here all that quicker. I'll be done in a minute, and I could really come quick. I come on my hand on her carpet, on their carpet, this rooming being shared by whores and shifts. I would have been fine with anything other than what she did, which was to snake down to the end of the bed and jam her fingers into her womb, and act as if she was giving me extra. A treat for the polite, masturbating American at the foot of her rickety server's bed. She moved away while I jagged off, and she stared at my gawked face and licked the air farthest away from my cock. She didn't want my cum on her, and she could see better from the pillow end, save her all around, while she dug at herself. She cleans herself first. She pulls herself off the bed, all rolls and tits and finished talk, and offers me the paper towel that she placed on the table just before taking her clothes off. One paper towel and an ashtray filled with condoms. The paper towel is considered rude and therefore not in plain view till a John is paid, while the condoms are a convenient and leery attempt at romantic advertising. She heads into the little bathroom off the side and stands comfortably nude at the sink splashing fuck knows what. I don't want to see it naked. It refuses to suck its pouch in. It still teeters in high heels. To hide her corns, to retain just a bit of fetishy safety in the sudden face of sunken, warm familia. A small attempt at weaponry. It talks, always, and offers me a chance to wash up next, so your wife won't see the stains that soak in your skin, underwear, and on the inside of your crumpled jean crotch. The hug shakes my hand naked. About your scab? Are you in town long? I'm here most nights. Just look for the sign downstairs. Rather easy. 5 minutes work. Yeah, work. I wouldn't fuck anything I actually like. I don't believe anyone does, especially after seeing it like this. I'm allowed to carry on unchecked. I've replaced sex with pornography and realized they're exactly the same act. The last woman I fucked actually put my cock in her cunt. It was only a few months ago, but I had performed the act so many times before that there was guaranteed nothing new or interesting to be had from inside the bigness of her body. I never fucked her before. In fact, I had never fucked anything that old before, which is why I actually decided to fuck it, rather than just jerk off or get my condom cock licked and mouthed. I've fucked women before and picked out the better parts of what they may have to offer. Crack habits, ghetto children, AIDS, old age, tiny tits, loose financial needs, whatever. Tends to still sound too base. I don't hate them. I'm not bored. I'm not primally compelled. But I'm not willing to believe that there's something special in any one of them. It's my choice, and I keep making it, like I did a fucking long time ago before I laid my eyes on anything specific. It's nothing but pornography. In Paris, on the Rue Saint-Denis, I watched all these daylight hookers talk with each other. They stood up in individual doorways along the main drag and bunched up in closer numbers off the side streets. Some wore long coats buttoned up to their necks, while others wore tight, thin, bright sweaters and lacy see-through tops. A great number sported fake nipples. Little plugs stuck in their bras and on their tits to give that always interested, always ready, always young and firm look to their quick aging wear jobs. All of them wore clown makeup that women for sale cave on. Fat lips to show you where to stick your money, and red cheeks to cover the bad childhood and ill health, and shaded eyes to convince you to talk right at them about using their bodies fully as urinals and wastebaskets. Do I want a nigger and more makeup than the ones back home bother with? Do I want a nigger that speaks about my money and bad taste in French rather than gorilla? I'd have better luck understanding their fake, snotty, broken English than the cranked ghetto sludge I usually fuck through. Do I want a nigger with a mouth? The black girls are said to be pushing out the white girls. The color ratio has changed rather dramatically since the last time I was there. Picking out a white whore, fat with big tits, skinny with fake stuff, not implanted. Or the newer brand of renegade middle-class friend doesn't seem all that much of a better prospect. Toisson, or some fucking French garbled thing like that, slithers out of these cunts' mouths as soon as I approach. They all say the same price to any old asshole who asks in anything other than French. It means 300 francs, which, I have to estimate, is close to 30 pounds and therefore close to around $50 in this shit fucking exchange rate. And no matter how cheap, even on a Thai scale, it's too much for that. Something so perfectly poor. Pushed further, they'll go down in price, but I'm not interested in haggling. They count with their thumbs first here. And some of these beasts drop it into their palm when I ask for a mite less than the Toisson full two-hold feast. That gets me washed and sucked sans condom for maybe the first 3 or 4 plunges. Then it's cunt for more. Ass is another option I'm not all that interested in. It really doesn't hurt enough, and there's already enough shit in it. On the furthest end of the street, in the daytime only, sits literally all the older hookers, 60s even. I'm sure my mother fucks this way. I want the condom on, dear. I wouldn't put my cock into my mother's mouth or a cunt without wearing a condom on principle, honey. You understand, especially if she was selling it. I'm old now, and a creep. This is what I do. I go to where the choices I've made throw themselves back at me. Up and down the middle of the street are porno shops and peep shows. There's a faggot sauna, which is rather too expensive, and just a bit further is Club 88, which has heterosexual sex shows seen from private booths. And upstairs, very busy, very crowded, queering buddy booths. Mom and I actually had to walk about a block through a tight throng of tourists and tradesmen to get from her perch to her rented apartment. I'm fairly sure she lived there because I very carefully only saw one jury room with a bed and a sink, but it was housed among a much larger hall of many larger apartments, where everyone else in the building knew what she's done all her life, or after the fall, whatever. And isn't it sad in a kind of pitiful sort of way? And of course, I'm the pig, the gross beast taking advantage, desperate and sick with someone like that. Keep your clothes on, Mother. Just lift your skirt, Mom. Tug down your very necessary pantyhose. Mother's sweater would feel better than the watery, mottled, hung, and sagged flesh underneath. I promise to be careful. I promise not to put my fingers in or anywhere near the fatted folds between your collapsed veins and thighs. I initially only wanted to see Mom's head on the end of my piss, my dirt. It would look better that way. I'm not a fan of meat, Mom. I'm a fan of makeup, and of giving you money, of confirming your lease. Money is not the fulcrum here, it's the introduction. Sex is the commerce, the act is traded. The payment is what's sold. Her head, and now I see her wig, her mirror, where she watches my hands, and pose and encourages me to forget my situation, and the relative dangers and chances and mistakes and steaming rapes, rages, hers and mine.
So I grab him by the head and pull it back.
Mm-hmm.
Reach around with my right hand.
Right?
And do this. Just drive it.
Okay. Now what happens?
The blood comes.
Okay. Where's all the blood go?
It's going in front of him. I'm behind him. He's in front of me. It's going this way.
Okay.
And I'm holding there, and I'm like I'm pulling his body this way and his head this way to let that blood out.
Okay. And then what happens?
It's flowing. He's trying to scream, he's trying to talk, but his throat's cut. So he starts to kind of go down. His blood's flowing. I have the knife in my hand. So I stab him, like here somewhere. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I let him fall to the ground. And I stab him one last time. Here. In the back.
Mm-hmm.